What's up, guys? Today I'm going to go over a little bit of some animation basics. I have more history with traditional type animation, not with pixel animation, but animation transfers across the board. So we're not really going to be looking at anything new in terms of animation, but for pixel, it's pretty important. A lot of people ignore these older animation rules with pixel art because they don't think it should apply. It's a pretty basic type of art form, but it can add quite a bit. So we're going to make a new file here. We're using Aseprite just for the ease of animating. It's got really nice onion skin. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a ball. So we're going to start with our sphere. Use that default red. And nice orange. And for the shadow, this doesn't have to be perfect, but it'll give us an idea of what we're working with here. So we got our basic shape here, and I want to take it and copy it. So I've got it ready to go if I ever need the original. So we're going to start in an up position. And let's add another layer. We'll call this one ball. And this one door. We're just going to make a little trap door that opens and drops the ball, just so we have a frame of reference. Right there. Alright, that's a trap door. Alright. Now we are going to add a bunch of frames. This makes it easy. And turn the onion skin on. And for the door, we're going to make it open. Oh, I should have did blanks. Let's do this. There, now we got blank frames. So we're going to make the door open. There. 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 And then we're going to ease it into its resting position. There. And then we're going to overshoot just a little bit. And then bring it down vertical. There. So we got 7 frames of the door opening. Now, we don't need to see that. Let's look at it for the first one. So, we've got the ball. Here. We'll line it up there. And we're going to start the falling animation sort of slow. So we got do. And we're going to pick up speed as we go. And as we drop, we are going to deform. So we're going to bring there, and there. Now we're going to start falling faster. So we can use this onion skin as a reference of how far we go. So see, first time we barely moved, second time we went about a quarter of the way. Now we're going about an entire length. We're going to stretch it, squeeze it down. Now the next frame we're going to go even further. Get over, squish it in, swing it down, And then we're gonna use, we'll use the very bottom for the floor. There we go. There. Now we're really gonna exaggerate this. And you want to keep in mind the amount of volume that your object has. So for this ball, we don't want to just stretch it straight out and not squish it in side to side. We want to keep in mind if this ball was, say, held 2 liters of air, it's still going to hold 2 liters of air. It's just going to be in a different shape. Now we are hitting the ground on the next frame. This one can go up a little. There, there. Okay, now we are hitting the ground. And this is going to be a drastic change. And this is where you want to keep your timing. Pay attention to your timing. So we're going to squash fast. So we hit the full squash in 2 frames. Take some frames here. And then we want to add one little slight hesitation where we stay close to the same size. And we're going to actually squash a little bit more. Now we're going to spring back into action. So we'll have 1 frame of our normal size. Then we're going to start stretching and going upwards. Now remember all those famous experiments where the guy drops the bowling ball in front of his nose and it swings back and you think it's going to hit him in the nose and the last second it doesn't? Just like that, the ball cannot return as high as we dropped it. So we cannot come up to here. So we're going to go about half the height. So, manipulate this guy a little bit. Okay, so now we're about our peak. We're almost back to our normal size. Normal shape, I should say. Now we're not squashing as much because we're not hitting a surface. We're just kind of hitting the height of our jump there. So we're going to give it a little deformation. And we'll go about halfway. And then we'll do the same thing we did on the ground. Do another shot at size relatively close to that. And that'll give us a little bit of a wobble effect. Now we'll start descending. But remember, we start slow. And then we speed it into the down. And we're actually going to be hitting the ground on this frame. So we'll squash her down. Squash a little bit more. That's a little too much. That's good. we're going to ease back out of the deform shape. And this time we're going to go half the height is our last bounce. So right about here. That's good. And then we'll deform even slighter than last time. So we got a nice little bit of hang time there. And now we lost quite a bit of speed, so we are not going to accelerate and deform downwards quite as much as before. Bring that up a little, not so much. And now the bounces are getting much smaller, so we're going to be able to work on single frame bounces. So we got a little there. Now we're going to return to normal. Whoop. Okay, there we go. Little tiny bounce here, a little bit of deforming, and then the next one, a little bit of deform at the top. Now we are falling. Next frame. Deform a little bit. And then we'll spring back up. It's 2 pixels. And we'll let it hover there. And one more. Get rid of it. We'll get our perfectly unaltered ball. There. Now we can play it back. And see how much of a difference the squashing and stretching would be. Now, I animated this on the ones. You may hear that term from other animators, but on the ones means I animated every frame straight forward. That's usually reserved for things like slow motion or, yeah, pretty much slow motion. It can be used for other effects, but usually you animate on the twos, which means I would animate every other frame, and then to adjust the timing, I would go in and add certain in-between frames where it was needed. And that's just a much easier way to keep track of things. But we did this on the ones because it's a simple ball. So it's got a little bit of a slow motion feel to it. In Aseprite, I believe we can change the frame rate, constant frame rate. I'll do 50 milliseconds. So that's, what, 30 frames a second? I think that's what it is. There you go. So now you can see it at a little bit of a normal speed. And yeah, that's 40 frames, and we covered that in about, what, 15 minutes or so? So not bad at all. This is a very, very, very basic animation it's pretty much a cornerstone of animation. Is the squash and the stretch, the exaggeration. You got other things to think about like smear frames and transitional frames and stuff like that. But if you can get squash and stretch down, you're going to have a much more fluid, dynamic looking animation. If this was just, say, the round ball like this, and it was just falling without changing shape, it would just bounce, 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 bounce. It would look pretty bad. But since we are going through and doing these extra little steps to bring it to life, it really helps. And the amount you are squashing and stretching can really change the look of it. Like this, we went pretty drastic. This kind of looks like a water balloon with how much we were able to deform the shape of it. But you know, if you can make it like a rubber ball or a tennis ball, and just don't squash as much, don't stretch as much. Just the basic idea. Once you get this idea down and you get it to look good in your eyes, then you're pretty much halfway there for animating these types of solids. But that's it. Good luck, and I hope this helped you guys.